Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new dragging video. Let's start off here at the YSL boutique on the Champs-Elysees in Paris in France. We visited the store while traveling and it happens to be my mother's former favorite store. As we approached the front door, the rude doorman told us we had to wait next to the doorway instead of in front of it, and if we had a problem with that, we were encouraged to leave and visit the LV store down the road instead. What is with these security guards? Why are you like this? Once we finally made it in, we were required to wait for someone to greet us and to take care of our needs, is what they said. So we waited there. 10 minutes passed. Finally, someone showed us around the store. She goes on to say that her mum asked for help in getting a shoe in a certain size. The SA rolls her eyes, honey. And then her mum also asked for help with a pair of YSL sunglasses that she's had. The color was fading and the frame was deteriorating. So she then asked what they can do to help with the sunglasses. The SA refused to look up her name in the system and asked her if perhaps they were bought secondhand and that she needs to take better care of her belongings. We left and never returned. Worst experience. Shame on you. Eve would be distraught. So rude, so entitled. Yeah, this is not nice. This is not nice. First of all, again, these security guards in Paris, honey, you need to chill out and just relax, okay? Relax. I've had so many run-ins with security guards in Paris, and as I always tell you guys, I'm sorry, you're not going to ruin my day. I've come from far away, okay? And if I'm going to go in there, I'm going to go in there. I've seen this boutique many times on the Champs-Elysees. Obviously, always milling around there when I go to Paris, but I've seen it many times, but I've never gone in. So maybe on the next European trip, I can pass by and report back. I do like YSL and I would love to pick up some of their footwear. I realized that she went here and got dragged for buying shoes. I don't care. I don't need the SA to be my friend. I don't need the SA to kiss my behind. I'm Gucci. But my thing is, I wouldn't go with my mum to somewhere like this. I think you should make an appointment. I just feel like this is just putting your mum through so much stress and worry. I wouldn't put my mum through walking in off the street cold, because I just feel like they can just be so rude and it would be a very unpleasant experience. This was not nice at all. Same location. I had an awful shopping experience with this SA, say the SA's name. She was really annoyed to show the bags I was asking for. She kept sighing. I mean, that's the least you could do. Be nice to people. It's your job. I had a very bitter experience. She was constantly lying about not having bags in stock or in any other store. I left the store feeling exhausted mentally, and I bought it from Galeries Lafayette, who actually know how to treat people. Again, this tactic of telling clients that the items are not in the store, it seems to be a very interesting tactic that big H SAs, LV SAs, SAs from other brands like YSL are doing. We're seeing this tactic being done a lot. I've been reading it in a lot of dragging reviews, that someone will say, like someone at Dior or Chanel or Louis Vuitton in dragging reviews will say, I'm looking for this, and they'll be like, it's not here, and it's like literally there. But and I actually think that they know it's there, or they know where it is, but they don't want to tell you. Not because that you're going to take the commission away from them, but because they don't think you're going to buy. So they don't want to make that extra little effort, to give it to you, because they just don't believe that you're a serious buyer. I think if the clients, I think if the SA doesn't want to tell you if they have more in stock, or they're lying about bag stock, to me the translation it gives to me is that they don't think you're a serious customer. They don't think you're going to buy it, because the technology that powers these brands, they know exactly what stock is available. They can see it in their software. They don't want to show it to you or to give it to you because they don't think you're going to buy anything today. And I think that that's what this is about. Let me know what you think about that one, because I do think that is kind of part of the issue here. The CA at this YSL store did not think that she was going to buy anything, so didn't want to show her things or tell her what was in stock. So it's kind of like, do you have this? Well, why? Are you going to buy it? Or why do you need to know if we have something if you have no intention of buying? I think there's some CAs who like to play those games with you because they don't think you're going to buy anything, and so she'd rather the brand not even get the sale because she doesn't want you to have it. I'm really excited to share with you some of the dragging reviews that are written in French from clients who, well, not even necessarily just French, like the ones where the person is like from the country, but they're writing in their native language, not English, because I think that those can be super illuminating and they're very transparent. Okay, same location, YSL, Champs-Elysees, Paris, France. Very unpleasant experience when we arrived here. An essay pointed at us openly and said to her colleague, again, this is a French language review, remember, they aren't going to buy anything, while looking us up and down in a haughty manner. She then asked us if we wanted any information, but we declined and quickly left. This behavior is rude and unprofessional. I do not recommend this store and urge management to pay attention to the attitude of this essay. I don't know. This to me feels like those essay mind games, because I find it hard to believe that essays have to know that there are a lot of French clients milling around. There's no way you can say that about a client. You don't know if they speak French or not. This to me felt like a mind game. She wanted them to hear it because she decided to take a risk and a chance that they were not like real clients and that they had zero intention to buy. So she wanted them to know that she doesn't think they're real clients and she doesn't think that they should be there. So she pulled their card and they left the store. So they kind of confirmed that kind of bias that she had, that they were not real clients. It's a tough one. I know many of you would have been like, well, I'm going to leave. You know, I'm conflicted. I probably would have left as well. But again, it's that kind of whole thing of, you know, other people would be like, I'm going to stay because I'm going to show that I'm going to make the purchase kind of thing. I'm so conflicted. It's such a tough one. Next one is another French language review. We came here to see different perfumes. The woman at the reception spoke to us as if we were 10-year-olds. She made us understand the specific perfume we're looking for wasn't here. We barely had time to ask if there are any other perfumes. And she said with a sly smile, we barely had time to ask if there are any other perfumes. And then with a sly smile, she invited us to leave and go to a competing store to find it. Perhaps if we were dressed in suits, we'd be properly taken care of. I won't be coming back to YSL on the Champs-Elysees. Let me tell you something. When you go up in these boutiques that are known for having beauty products, if you go up in that flagship and you ask for just the beauty line, you will get the cold shoulder, even though they have the items. How do I know this? Okay. Now, on one of the previous trips to Paris, when I went to Dior Avenue Montaigne, okay, I bought, if you guys remember, I bought those sunglasses from Dior, and I also bought a notebook. I remember walking in, I remember hearing a client ask a CA if they have Dior Beauty. Of course they have Dior Beauty at the flagship store. Of course they do, but it's not that easy to find. It's not like super prominently placed anywhere. Or like Dior perfumes, and that's what she said. Do you have like Dior perfumes? And they were like, yeah, we do. But she didn't seem particularly excited to tell her where it was. And she began to like direct her like, you know, the perfumes are over there kind of thing. I will never understand Dior, honey, like YSL. You guys have great beauty lines and great perfumes. It is completely plausible that someone will walk past a YSL flagship store and want to walk in and buy YSL Libre, for example, or walk into Dior and want to buy a Miss Dior perfume. To be annoyed that people have come in to buy perfume when you make really famous, iconic perfumes that are loved around the world is weird to me. Now, however, would I walk into this YSL to buy perfume only? No, personally, I wouldn't. I'd rather just go to a department store and get the perfume there. I think many of you are with me. We probably wouldn't do it. Us Glamazons wouldn't, because we don't want to be dragged. So I'm just allergic to being dragged at this point. So I would probably not. But I think it's completely plausible that people should do that. I wouldn't, and I know you guys wouldn't, but it is what it is. I think that this example where they were talked about in French, I think is just really interesting. It's part of that psychological thing again of making people feel weird and bad and then hoping that they buy. It must work because they do this all the time. I think it's so wild to talk about someone in French, knowing that you're in a French store, there are French customers of YSL. It's completely wild to me to do this, but it must work because they do it. I think one of the things I will never really understand about these brands is the fact that they put these products to buy and get annoyed that people turn up and buy. If I'm going to buy something, I'm going to buy it. And if you don't want to sell it, don't put it in there. Still, that said, I wouldn't go to this store to buy a perfume. I would rather go to Galeries Lafayette and try other perfumes while I'm there. I just feel like it's a recipe for being dragged, so I'm not surprised they got dragged. The next one is the Louis Vuitton Boutique in Printemps in Paris, France. An arrogant French gentleman was the one who welcomed us. Right at the start, his attitude was really rude. He asked how many of us are going in. I said 5 since I'm helping my family pick out gifts. He then had the audacity to say, are all of you actually buying something, or should only those who are purchasing come in? I've never heard anything like that before. That's wild. So I decided to go in first with one of my family members. As we're browsing, he immediately asked, are you looking for a specific bag? I can just grab it for you. I already told him at the entrance I wanted to look first before deciding. And a moment later, one of his colleagues came over to speak to him, probably because he'd seen us browsing the official website while waiting in line, realizing we're serious clients. And just like that, his attitude did a complete 180. Suddenly he said, I'm so sorry, my friend. I apologize for my behavior earlier. Is there anything you're looking for? At this point, I had zero patience. So I just walked out. Later, my whole family and I went to Maison Vendôme and ended up buying 5 bags without any of this nonsense. I agree. It's worth mentioning that this client is a international client. And I think I just, again, I do not understand the essays sometimes who snatch, who literally snatch victory. Literally, they snatch the victory at that point. You were going to sell 5 bags. They're probably going to be leather bags. You could even have convinced these people to buy exotics, right? But instead, you wanted to be really annoying. And again, I get it because there are a lot of people who just come and look. I can't think of anything more stressful than like trying to queue to shop at these the department store ones. I've always seen the Printemps one and the Galeries Lafayette one. They're full of clients. I went to the Le Bon Marché one last year. That one has less clientele. There's less traffic there, so it's quite nice to browse there. But like Galeries Lafayette and Printemps have a lot of people who are milling around. I just don't understand why you'd be pressuring the person about who's buying. She literally said, a family are there, everyone's picking out gifts, everyone's going to buy something. Meaning, even if one person's paying, everyone is getting their present, so everyone technically is receiving something. Again, snatching victory away when the victory was there. They ended up going to Vendôme and bought 5 bags. I think I told you guys this before, but in the London trip in 2023, I think I told you guys that, remember I said I went to Louis Vuitton Harrods. I remember seeing a client, a gentleman and a lady, and they had like 5 capucines and they were buying them all. So this whole idea of limits, that's another thing. I don't think that those limits are real in the store, like particularly if you're going to buy like capucines and really expensive exotics and leather goods. The next one is the Louis Vuitton boutique in Vienna. I visited the Louis Vuitton store in Vienna yesterday in Austria. I had a really disappointing experience. I was greeted by a male SA who asked how he should help. I politely replied, I'd like to look around. I'll let him know if I need any help. Since there were clients behind me, I stepped in further in the store. The SA then told me to stop and reprimanded me, saying he was speaking to me. What? I was expected to remain and listen. I found this behavior shockingly disrespectful for a brand that demands such a premium price for its products. The least the customer should expect is a courtesy. The interaction left me with no desire to shop further. I truly hope management addresses this. Again, some of these people love to do those power plays. I was speaking to you. You need to calm down, sir. Relax. Chill. Okay. Now, me personally, what I would have done is I would have been like, okay. I would have listened to him and I'd been like, okay. And if he'd been like, I can help you now, I would have been like, can you pair me with someone else? Because I'm not, dealing with your attitude today. The next one is the Hermes boutique in Vienna in Austria. I recently visited the Hermes store in this area with the intention of buying men's clothing, shoes, a belt, and a bag. We know what you're doing there. While browsing, I attempted to check the price of a men's bag when a male staff member approached me and rather abruptly told me, please don't touch it, stating that customers are not allowed to handle any items without an SA present. At that point, I'd already been waiting for over 30 minutes without assistance, and the manner in which I was addressed was unnecessarily aggressive and unwelcoming. I fully understand and respect store policies regarding merchandise handling, but a more polite and professional approach would have been appreciated. Um, Another female staff member initially agreed with him, saying items can't be touched, but then after a brief conversation, she clarified that clients are allowed to touch the men's clothing. Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, my experience left me feeling that the service was selective and lacking hospitality. The client then proceeds to leave. I had an excellent experience at Louis Vuitton, where the staff was courteous, attentive, respectful. I think Big H could have benefit from adopting similar standard of care. We know they're not going to be as nice as they are at Louis Vuitton. Let's not sit around and play games. Big H's client service is not particularly nice, in my opinion. I think Dior service is way better than Big H's, and I think Louis Vuitton service. If the CA believes you're going to buy something, the CA is very nice to you. I think even if you're going to buy something at Big H, the CA is like, meh, whatever, don't care. This one is unfortunate, but I think that this person knows very well that you're not allowed to touch display bags. Of course, you can touch clothes at Hermes. I'm sure we all have looked through their ready-to-wear and touched it, but we know you're not allowed to touch display bags. That is well known. Anyone who shops at Hermes around the world knows you do not touch any bag on display, whether it's a quota bag or non-quota bag. So you knew what you did was wrong. You were a little embarrassed that you got told off. Me personally, I would have taken the L. Sometimes you need to take the L and be like, okay, I touched the display bag. Maybe I shouldn't have touched it. What do you think about that one? Okay, the final one is the Chanel boutique in Boston in America. I hate to think that my casual appearance upon entering the store is what prompted my lack of service. People literally start with the reason why they were dragged. But when I was finally helped, I was very much dismissed. I had a question about a purchase I made, which I was very excited about when I entered, and how to authenticate it. That's weird. And if it was something I could bring in to be looked at, and how to proceed if I could not do so at the store. The SA helping me laughed at me and said, no, we don't give out that info. Ultimately, it was met with snarkiness and haste, as if I was wasting their time by asking my question, which left me feeling extremely embarrassed. In the end, I was offered no alternative info and left with a bad taste in my mouth. I'll not return to this location. I implore the company to do better. Girl, bye. You know exactly what you need. Sometimes you have to read between the lines of the drag reviews. You walked into a Big C boutique, Chanel Boston. She says a purchase, obviously a pre-loved piece. It's not from the store, and it's definitely not from that store. And what is the sign that it's pre-loved? The fact that she says here, and how to authenticate it. So it's probably a pre-loved bag or maybe a pre-loved SLG. And if it was something I could bring in to be looked at and how to proceed. Now, this dragging review is a great example of those unwritten rules that we've talked about in many videos. I've already filmed heaps of videos of unwritten rules. So I won't film another one, so I've already filmed a bunch of these. But this is another unwritten rule. Don't go into a luxury store and ask the CA to authenticate something you have bought pre-loved. I think it does show you to be kind of like an amateur. That is very taboo. I think a lot of brands dislike it. Number one, you're just there to ask a question, you're not there to buy anything. So that's annoying because the CA has to make sales. Number two, you're asking them to authenticate it. They're not authenticators. Number three, if you can't authenticate it, can you point me in the right direction? Google is free. Okay. Bing. I like Bing more. Bing is free. Okay. You could go Google it and figure out how to get it authenticated. Okay. Facebook is a great space for Chanel authentication. You could maybe go there, or you could maybe try and, sell it again on Fashion File, and then we'll see if they could do something about it. Now, the CA should not laugh. But that is wrong for the CA to laugh at the client in the client's face. But sometimes I think clients bring this behavior on themselves. Like, you cannot possibly think you're going to walk into the Chanel boutique in Boston, a store which I would imagine has a lot of top spenders, not buy a thing, ask them if they can authenticate your pre-loved item, ask them where to go. How much work do you want the CA to do and they're not being paid? They're not being paid for that. They're being paid to help clients who are purchasing. You are not a client of Chanel. You are someone who wants to talk about your pre-loved item, which is a Chanel product that we don't know when you bought it for. I know this is going to be unpopular with many of you, but the client is wrong. The client is bang out of order, and the client shouldn't be surprised that she got dragged. Sorry. You can't be surprised that she got dragged. Now, should the CA laugh? No, that's not okay. That's not particularly pleasant. But yes, when she said she was very much dismissed, yeah. I think that this is one of those things. I wish I could speak to this person. I'll let them know that CAs don't authenticate items. Also, you didn't buy it from the store, so they have no interest in helping you. Frankly, you didn't buy it from Chanel because it's a pre-loved item. So there's really no, Chanel has no vested interest in that item. The person who bought it, fine, but not you. It is what it is. Like, you can't even be mad at the CA for doing this. This is a complete waste of time. No, we don't give out that information. Frankly, she was quite good to tell you they don't give out that information. Other CAs would be like, no, you know? Other CAs would just be like, I'm sorry, like, can you leave? Like, she was left with a bad taste in her mouth and felt the excitement diminished. I'm sorry. You cannot be serious. You walked up into Chanel Boston, asked them to authenticate something pre-loved that you didn't buy there, and you didn't buy in a Chanel store. You've got to be kidding me. No way. Let me know what you think about these ones. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. The final dragging video in the marathon will be tomorrow on Saturday. I really hope you've enjoyed everything so far. If you have, give this video a thumbs up and let someone know about it, and sign up to the newsletter if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.